In this video, you'll learn about the structure of Fusion teams, projects, and folders, how to create a Fusion team, how to switch between Fusion teams, how to create a new project and invite others to collaborate, how to edit the roles within Fusion team and projects, and lastly, I'll discuss different scenarios for creating and managing projects. To help understand the structure of Fusion teams, projects, and folders, I like using the analogy of a file cabinet. So think of Fusion team as the file cabinet, and that file cabinet has security. Then think of the project as a drawer within the file cabinet, and that also has security. So you can have a project for each different project that you're working on. So for example, if I was designing a car, I could have a project for that. If I was designing a boat, I could have a project specific for that. Then think of folders as a way to help organize that data. For example, if I'm working on my car project, I could have a folder for the chassis and I could have another folder for the electrical components. Now, all the data is stored in the cloud. Next, let's look at this from another angle. To start off with, you're going to have your account. So this is going to be the email that you used when you created your Autodesk Education profile. This is also the email that you're logging into Fusion with. Then from your account, you're going to have your Fusion team. Then you can have as many projects as you need. And then you can have folders to help manage that data. And you can also be invited into other people's teams and projects, as shown here in the diagram. And again, all the data is secured in the cloud. Note that the data is separate between teams. So next, let's take a look at how you create your Fusion team. When you install Fusion 360 for the first time, you'll be prompted to create your Fusion team. The first thing that you'll do is click on Create a Team, and then you'll enter a name for your Fusion team. In the next dialog box, click on Create, and your Fusion team will be created, and then it will show up inside of Fusion 360. Next, let's look at this inside of Fusion 360. First thing I want to do is expand the data panel. At the very top of your screen, we'll show you which team is currently active. To switch teams, go ahead and click on the drop down for team account. And here you'll see the different Fusion teams that you have access to. And of course, my default is my team. Then in the lower section, this is going to be information about our projects. So here you can see that I'm working on my Transition to Fusion 360 project. If I click on the home icon, these are all the different projects that I've created. To create a new project, you have to be at the top level. So again, if you don't see new project, click on that home icon and then click on new project. Then type in a name for your project and press the enter key. In my case here, I'm just going to go ahead and double click on my Transitioning to Fusion 360 project to make that active. Now, once you're in a project, here you can create subfolders. So you can see the two different folders that I created to help manage the data in this project. You can also add data to the project by clicking on the upload icon and then select the files or drop them into this area here. To collaborate with other people on this project, go ahead and click on the People tab and then enter that person's email address. This is going to be the email address that they are logging into Fusion 360 with, and then click Invite, and they will be invited into this project. Next, let's look at roles. So the first role that we want to discuss here will be with Fusion Team. So if you click on the Team Account dropdown, and for the team that's active, click on the Open Administrator Console on the web. This will open up a window in your default browser. Here under Team Settings, I can change the name of my team. Click on Members and Roles, and here you can also invite people into the project just like we did inside of Fusion 360. I can also control the role for individuals at the team level. When working with your students, I would suggest keeping them as a project contributor. A project contributor can only work on the project that they are invited into, where a team member can create projects and view open and closed projects. Coming up to the top of the screen, if you click on Projects, on this page I can see all the different projects that I've created. Clicking on the drop-down arrow, I can archive this project, and here I can manage the roles specifically for this project. To change the role for an individual in the project, just click on the drop-down arrow. An editor can view and edit files. A viewer can only view files. And a project admin can manage the project, meaning that they can invite others to that project. So again, working with students, I would suggest having them as an editor, or if you create a project where you only want them to view data, not be able to edit that, change it to viewer. Now I'm going to switch back to Fusion 360. Another method for managing projects is to go back through the data panel, select the project that you want to edit, and then to the right of the project name, click on Open on the Web. Your default browser will open up. And on this page, you can upload data to the project. You can create subfolders. If you click on Project Members, here you can invite others into this project. In the middle section, you can edit the roles of individuals. An editor can view and edit files. A viewer can only view files, and a project admin can manage the project, meaning that they can invite others into that project. By clicking the icon on the right, here you can remove a member from the project. Next, let's review two scenarios for creating student projects. The first scenario is that the educator owns the projects. And how this works is the educator will create the project for each student. The educator will then invite the student or students into that project. How this works is the educator has complete control who has access to the project. Then inside of Fusion 360, the student will make the educator's Fusion team active, and then the student will add data to that project. For scenario 2, the student owns the project. In this case, the student will create a project, then invite the educator into that project. How this works is that the student has complete control on who has access to the project. Then the educator would make the student's Fusion team active. Then the educator can see and edit data in that specific project. In this video, I gave a high-level overview working with Fusion teams and projects. To learn more, we wrote a white paper specifically for using Fusion teams and projects in education. You can go to the URL listed below or click on the QR code. This completes this video on managing Fusion teams and projects. Thanks for watching.